voice is a term that is used to denote the form of the verb. It shows if the subject is in a given sentence is the doer or receiver of the action. The voice of a verb describes the relationship between action and participants, subject or object in a sentence. Subject, doer of the action, and object, receiver of the action. The two voices in the English language. There are two voices in English language, and they are as follows: active voice and passive voice. Let us look into the two voices a little in detail with the help of the meaning and definitions given below. What is the active voice? Meaning and definition. The active voice in a sentence denotes that the noun or pronoun that acts as the subject in the sentence is the doer of the action. In other words, the subject performs the action or acts upon the verb. According to Oxford Learner's Dictionary, the active voice is defined as the form of a verb in which the subject is the person or thing that performs the action, and according to the Collins Dictionary, the active voice is defined as a voice of verbs used to indicate that the subject of a sentence is performing the action or causing the event or process described by the verb. What is passive voice? Meaning and definition. The passive voice represents that the subject is one acted upon by the action or verb in the sentence. It can also be said that the passive voice indicates that the subject in the sentence is no longer active but passive. According to the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, the passive voice is defined as the form of a verb used when the subject is affected by the action of the verb, and according to the Collins Dictionary, the passive voice is formed using be and the past participle of a verb. The subject of a passive clause does not perform the action expressed by the verb, but it is affected by it. Using the active and passive voice. The While using the active voice and the passive voice, this English language, the active voice is used generally as they give the information in a direct and clear manner. Make sure you don't use the passive voice just because you think it sounds better. Use it only if it is necessary. Remember that the active voice has the subject doing the action and the passive voice has the subject receiving the action. If you want to communicate your thoughts and ideas clearly and effectively, especially in a professional setup, it would be best to use the active voice. A pro tip for you to master the active voice and the passive voice is to know the structure and formula by which they work. Active voice, subject, verb, object; passive voice, object, verb, subject. Analyzing the difference between the active voice and the passive voice is what will help you in much better way to learn how to use the two voices effectively. Take a look at the following table to know how they differ. Denotes that this active voice denotes that the subject is performing the action. Passive voice denotes that the subject is acted upon by the verb or action in the sentence. The active voice does not require a linking verb to make sense. The passive voice uses a link verb followed by the past participle of the main verb. The active voice focuses on the doer of the action. The passive voice comes in handy when the doer of the action is undermined, has a direct, clear, and strong tone, has an indirect, weak, and subtle tone. Example: I decorated the hall. Devi gives Shanti a gift. Example: the hall was decorated by me. Shanti was given a gift by Devi. Present tense. Active. Simple tense. Brendan plays cricket. Continuous tense. Brendan is playing cricket. Perfect tense. Brendan has played cricket. Perfect continuous. Brendan has been playing cricket. Passive. Cricket is played by Brendan. Cricket is being played by Brendan. Cricket has been played by Brendan. No passive. Past tense. Active. Brendan played cricket. Brendan was playing cricket. Brendan had played cricket. Brendan had been playing cricket. Passive. Cricket was played by Brendan. Cricket was being played by Brendan. Cricket has been played by Brendan. No passive. Future. Active. Brendan will play cricket. Brendan will be playing cricket. Brendan will have played cricket. Brendan will have been playing cricket. Passive. Cricket will be played by Brendan. No passive in future continuous. Cricket will have been played by Brendan. No passive in perfect continuous tense. Change of pronouns. Active. I is changed into me in passive voice. We is changed into us. Us. He is changed into him. She is changed into her. They is changed into them. It is changed into it. That is no change. There are few other points that you have to know that so that you can use the two voices effectively. They are as follows. When converting a sentence in the active voice or the passive voice, the first thing that you have to do is to interchange the subject and the object. The next part of a speech you have to focus on the verb. When converting the active voice into passive voice, you just have to convert the main verb into past participle or its third form. The third form of the main verb is the past participle form of the verb. When you are changing the tense of the main verb, make sure you use an auxiliary verb which maintains the tense the sentence represents. Always use the preposition by before the subject in a passive sentence. If there are any adverbs used in the sentence with the active voice, be sure to include it in the passive voice as well. Do not just drop it when you convert a sentence in the active voice to the passive voice or vice versa. Examples of active and passive voice. Given below are a few examples of how to convert the active voice into the passive voice. Active voice. Twinkle likes adventure stories. Adventure stories are liked by Twinkle. Active voice. Latha is learning French this year. Passive voice. French is being learned by Latha this year. Active voice. Kurt has brought macaroons. Passive. Macaroons have been brought by Kurt. Active voice. Siddharth played cricket. Passive voice. Cricket was played by Siddharth. Active voice. They were making invitation cards. Passive voice. Invitation cards were being made by them. Active voice. Becky had packed the bags. The bags had been packed by Becky. Mira will play the refreshments for the party. The refreshments for the party will be bought by Mira. Check your understanding of the active voice and the passive voice. Now that you have seen a number of examples and learned how to convert, how the conversion is done, try converting the following sentence as directed. Varun is helping Rashmi change into passive voice. A gift was given to Mansha by me, change into active voice. Shantana will sing all my life at the nationals, change into active voice. A mouse was being chased by my cat, change into active voice. Naveen loves Pravina, change into passive voice. The decorations for the annual day will be done by Emma, change into active voice. J.K. Rowling wrote the Harry Potter novels, change into passive voice. Miss Holly will teach Spanish this year, change into passive voice. Mike was hit by Nick, change into active voice. Nestle